Hello guys. I recently viewed my analytics and found that people are watching my video but not subscribing my channel. Please subscribe my channel so that I can feed my cat. Hello guys. Today, I am going to show you an American science fiction drama film from 2016 entitled Arrival. Warning: this is a spoiler content. So, watch out and take care. The film starts with the voice of Dr. Louise Banks speaking to someone. We see moments of Louise with her daughter Hannah, from her birth, through her childhood years, up until her death at a young age from a fatal disease. The movie cuts to a university, where Dr. Louise Banks teaching a language class. When a lot of students start getting alerts on their phones and ask her to turn on the news channel, she comes across a news report claiming that some strange extraterrestrial objects or spacecraft landed at 12 different locations on the Earth. The situation has caused a lot of confusion among people as no one actually knows what these objects are or where they came from. Everyone starts making speculations. Some people think they might be the aliens from some other planets trying to contact humans, but no one is yet sure about their real purpose. As all nations start their investigations and conduct different studies, a U.S. Army officer, Colonel Weber, approaches Louise to seek her help in translating an audio file they have received from one of these spacecraft. At his request, Louise hears the audio files but cannot reach any conclusion and asks Weber to take her to the site so she can directly interact with them. Disagreeing with her approach, Weber then leaves while saying he will get help from her other colleagues instead. The same night, he comes back to Louise's house and agrees to take her to the site in Montana, the site where the spacecraft landed in the US. During their journey, Louise meets the theoretical physicist Ion Donnelly, who has also been asked to assist in this study. After getting an introduction to the team, the colonel briefs them about the mission, that they have to question these aliens about their purpose of visiting the Earth. Upon arriving at the military camp set up in front of the spacecraft, they are stunned to see it as they have never seen anything like this before. As Ian discusses the situation with representatives from all 12 sites, Colonel Weber introduces the group to Agent David Halpern from the CIA, who will be accompanying them in their interactions with the aliens. After getting into the protective gear, the negotiation team drives to the spacecraft, where they ascend through a strange door at the bottom. The group is surprised to see these haptopod-shaped aliens, but the session does not prove to be any success as no one from either side can understand anything at all, and they have to return with no answers. Meanwhile, the situation keeps getting tense around the world as many areas face chaotic conditions due to uncertainty and fear among people. On the team's next visit to the spacecraft, Louise brings a whiteboard as a visual aid which she uses in an attempt to introduce humans to them. This tactic proves to be useful as they get a response, but it's in form of just a circular symbol. Although the team succeeds in getting a response, they cannot interpret the symbols, so Louise suggests developing a separate vocabulary for better understanding. Louise takes things a step further in their next meeting and removes her safety suit to make herself more visible to the aliens as she thinks it might help them feel connected to her. Her unannounced strategy creates an alarming situation in the camp as everybody thinks she is risking her life, but Louise still decides to proceed. After reluctantly walking to the invisible wall separating them, she places her hand there as an introductory gesture and gets a similar response from the other side. As she tells her name Louise, the aliens again make a symbol which she thinks is his name. Seeing her method working, Ian follows her and introduces him. He also gets a reply as both haptopods create different signs while trying to tell their names. After being unable to understand their language, Ian suggests naming them Abbott and Costello. While coming back after a successful session, Louise sees visions of a child, but she can't understand who she is, as she has never seen her before. As these spacecraft remain on Earth for a long time, people start getting worried if aliens have bad intentions for humans. The situation gets more intense as governments devise specific protocols and advises everyone to stay safe. In the meantime, Louise continues her work to understand these symbols, but she also frequently experiences different visions. After some initial studies, it is suspected that all the spacecraft from different regions somehow communicate with each other, but it is quite strange as humans cannot capture any kind of signals around them. As the heptapods continue communicating with humans with the use of their unique symbols, linguists figure out their language is semasiographic, which delivers the meanings without using sounds, and it's in form of palindrome which reads the same both ways, backward and forward. As the group spends a lot of time together, Louise and Ian start getting closer as he greatly admires her expertise in language and her creative strategies to communicate with the aliens. While the scientists are busy trying to figure out the situation, a photo of the aliens goes viral and creates chaos in the world. People start protesting against the government policies as everyone thinks the officials are not taking enough action, while some others think the government should use force against them instead of wasting their time in negotiations. When Louise sees the visions again, the girl appears to be her daughter, but she gets confused as she is not married yet and doesn't have any children at all. One morning, Colonel Weber seeks Louise's help in translating a message from Mandarin while telling her that they received it from China's military chief General Shang. After the translation, Louise tells him that General Shang and his team discovered that these spacecraft are offering advanced technology to humans. She also finds out that the Chinese are using the game Mahjong to converse with heptapods. Although their method is working, Louise thinks it may create a misunderstanding as the aliens might get the wrong message that there are only two options, either defeat or victory, which can lead to some serious consequences. Upon Colonel's orders, Louise conducts another session, but they get a message which she decodes as offer weapon. It creates massive confusion in the camp as the military takes it as an offensive message, thinking aliens are threatening to use force against them. Louise, on the other hand, still wants to give them a margin as the message was not clear enough whether they used the word for weapon or tool. Ian also seconds her, thinking they might be asking humans to offer them something. As no one is sure about the message, Louise suggests going back to clarify before taking another step. Before they can proceed, they receive the news that China and Russia are disconnecting their communication with other countries, so they are asked to do the same. Louise condemns this activity as she thinks everyone should share information with each other to completely understand their message and come up with a joint action plan, but the military officers disagree with her. As the military has now decided to go into the offensive mode, they plant the explosions near the spacecraft. Without knowing about it, Louise and Ian go in again. As Louise interacts with them, her visions come back, but she cannot pay much attention as heptapods make several different signs this time. At the same time, the duo hears the gunshots from outside the craft, but before they can understand what's going on, they are pushed away by the heptapods just before the explosion. Louise wakes up in the camp, where the doctor tells her that the site is no longer secure and the military is planning to evacuate immediately. As they have a lot of data from the last message to decode, Louise requests Colonel Weber to let her go back to explain the situation. As they discuss their next move, they hear some noise and find out that the craft have moved upward and have become impossible to access now. The authorities send in a message informing the team that China has decided to launch an attack on the spacecraft, while others including Pakistan, Russia, and Sudan are planning to follow the lead. After getting this information, the officers at the camp alert everyone to get ready to face retaliation that might come over if any country attacks the crafts. During all this chaos, Ian tells Louise that he figured out something about the message. He explains that the message they got earlier is only 1/12 of the entire content, which indicates that all 12 sites must coordinate with each other to decode the complete message. Realizing this, Louise suggests taking other countries on board, but David disagrees with her approach and reveals that no one is ready to share their pieces of information. As there is no other way, Ian comes up with an idea to offer their data in return and make it a non-zero-sum game where everyone benefits in the end. As the team still debates whether to keep the information to themselves or share it with others, Ian suggests they should go back in again and talk to the heptapods. In response, Colonel tells him that even if they want to go back, it's now impossible as the craft has moved beyond their reach. Louise, who is not yet ready to give up, goes near the craft alone, but to everyone's surprise, the aliens release a small vessel to take her up to the main shell. After arriving outside the invisible wall, she can only see Costello this time. Upon her question about Abbott, Costello tells her that he got injured, which they call the death processes, during the explosion. Louise apologizes for the mishap and requests him to send a message to the other sites, but she gets a reply which decodes as Louise has a weapon and use weapon. Seeing her confused, Costello tells her that they are here to assist humanity in exchange for its help in about 3,000 years. When Louise questions how they know about the future, she is shown the vision again. She asks them to explain about the child she often sees, but the heptapod writes Louise sees future and disappears without any explanation. Louise then returns to the car but sees the final vision in which she and the little girl named Hannah discuss why her father left them. She realizes that the baby she has been seeing in her visions will be her daughter in the future who will die of a rare disease, and her husband will leave her after learning that Louise already knew about this. After this realization, she figures out that the word they decoded earlier as the weapon actually meant gift, referring to her ability to see the future. After returning to the camp, Louise explains to Colonel Weber that the aliens were trying to say their language is a gift that humans must learn if they want to see the future just as they do. She hopes for a positive response from Colonel Weber, but he reveals they have called off the mission and thanks her for her assistance. 18 months later, Louise attends a party where she meets General Shang, who admires her efforts in bringing all the countries together on one page. Although Louise can't remember anything, but he reveals she contacted him on his private number and changed his mind about attacking the heptapods, and she is the only reason behind this unification. Louise remembers that, before leaving the camp, despite the military's disapproval, she stole a satellite phone that she used to reach out to General Chang. He tells her that Louise reminded him of his wife's words on the deathbed. As the result, General Chang aborted the mission while announcing to share their part of the information with others, and all other countries followed. Louise then talks to her future daughter Hannah and says although she knows where the journey will lead, she will still embrace it. In the end, she hugs Ian as he proclaims his love for her. At this point, Louise realizes that Ian will be her husband who will leave her after their daughter, Hannah's death, but she still decides to take on this journey. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked this video. Subscribe my channel to never miss out any video.